What's up everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today's video I'm doing the Contradiction Book Tag. I'm pretty sure I was tagged a few weeks ago, if not months ago, by Ian, but I never got around to do it, so I'm doing it today. I'm kind of catching up on filming it today, so if you guys see me in this outfit in a few different videos, that's why. But this is a really fun tag. It kind of proves that sometimes you like something or don't like something for no particular reason or for no logical reason. It's just feeling. These questions kind of proves that sometimes there's no logical reason why we like or do not like something. So there's, I think, 9 questions in this video. I would love it if you guys would answer down below in the comments. I would love to know what you guys think about it, and without further ado, let's get right into this tag. Question number 1 is, I love this genre but I did not like this book, and I'm gonna go with romance. I love romance books. They're one of my favorite genre that I read all the time, but I really did not like this book. This was in my most disappointing read of last year, and it is a spoiler alert by Olivia Dade. This was getting so much hype when this came out. Everyone was loving it. The concept of it is pretty cool. It's about this girl who writes fan fiction on this show, which is the equivalent of Game of Thrones in our world. It's this really big fantasy show, and she writes fan fiction online of it, and one day she posts a video of her in a costume and she gets a ton of hate on it because she is overweight. And then one of the actors on the show invites her on a date because he sees all the hate that she gets online. But little did they know, he actually writes fan fiction as well on his own show, and they talked together online quite frequently. They know of each other on this fan fiction website, and this was just such a disappointing read for me, honestly. I thought the concept of it was really nice. I thought it was really fun to see a plus size character in a romance book. At that time I hadn't seen a lot of it being done, so I thought it was really nice to see that representation. But I really did not like the main character. I really did not like the fan fiction aspect. I am not someone who reads fan fiction. I've never really read any as well when I was younger, so maybe it's a me thing. I just couldn't connect with these characters. I had a really hard time believing that an actor of that big of a show would like write fan fiction on his own show and like on his own character. I just could not hold my disbelief with that. I just could not get past that. I did not love their, like, I thought they were cute together, but there was some aspect of her that I just did not enjoy. I just felt that as much as she was trying to be body positive and trying to be really confident in her body, there was some aspect that I just didn't feel made sense. I thought that there was some aspect of her and something that she did in the book that did not make sense with that aspect of her life, and I don't know. I was really disappointed in this book. And also this book was extremely steamy. Like, the sex scene in this book were just pages on pages on pages, which is not something that I love about a romance book. Like, I don't mind sex scene, I don't mind steamy scenes, but in this book I felt it was a little too much. And so I do want to give the author another chance. I know she came out with a few of the books. I might give her another chance one time, but just this book I really did not ended up liking it as much. So question number 2 is, I rarely read this genre but I loved this book. This is a genre that I never read, and it is sci-fi. Last year I honestly read one sci-fi book and it went on the top of my list for the best book of 2021. It was actually the best book of 2021 that I read, and so it is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Like I said, I do not read a sci-fi book, like pretty much never. I do love fantasy. I love dystopian, which I feel like sometimes dystopian and sci-fi are kind of similar, kind of not, but kind of similar. But really hard sci-fi I never read, and this, like I said, ended up being the best book that I've read last year. It was so freaking good. It was my first Andy Weir book. I do want to read The Martian now. I know Artemis is also a book of his which has been getting mixed reviews, but I know a lot of people loved The Martian, so I do want to give that one a try. But this is about a guy named, I suck with name, Rylan, and one day he wakes up in a spaceship and he's basically alone because the rest of his crew did not wake up with him. And as he is remembering why he is on this spaceship, we are discovering it as well. And then he meets this alien, which is the cutest, best character ever. This book was everything. I love the characters in this book. I love the friendship in this book. My only negative in this book is the science kind of got a little bit too intense for me at some point. I did not understand pretty much anything sciencey in this book, but you don't need it to enjoy this book. This was amazing. A 5 out of 5 stars. Highly recommend this book. I know like a lot of people read that book last year and a lot of people love this book, but I highly recommend it. I enjoyed it so much. So the next question is, I love this trope but did not like this book, and I had a really hard time. All of these next question, I had a hard time finding a book for these. It was a hard tag, guys. Leave your answers down below and let me know if you had an easier time than me getting like answering these questions, because I spend way too long answering these questions. But yeah, so I loved this trope but hated this book. I went with, I don't know if it's a trope, so I'm kind of cheating on here a little bit, but I love magical library setting. I just think they're so much fun. I just love libraries in general, like bookstore or libraries. I just love that setting. And so magical libraries, yes please, I want more. I want to read about that. I want to read about librarians. I love that setting. But I really hated Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. Is that her name? Yeah, Margaret Rogerson. I will put a picture right here. This is, I think, an unpopular opinion. I think I'm pretty much the only one, or if not, like very few people have not liked this book, but I just could not connect with it. I thought it was kind of boring. I really did not like the romance in the book. I really liked the cat in the book. I thought I was really fun and cute to see. I like Silas is his name, I'm pretty sure. But I don't remember pretty much anything in this book. I have read it maybe 2 years ago, so there's that too. But even like right after I finished that book, I could not remember a lot of it. And I just didn't really care for that book. Sadly, that was not a good book for me. And then the next question is, I hate this trope but I liked this book, and I'm gonna go with the friends to lover trope in the romance book. I don't hate that trope. I don't hate it, but it's not my preferred trope. It's not a book that I look forward to in general. It has to be done really right. I just have a hard time believing sometimes that these have been friends for like 5 years, 10 years, and nothing happened between them up until the time that we read the book. It's just sometimes it doesn't click in my mind. But one author that I think did it really good, and it is People We Met on Vacation by Emily Henry. I guess I'm kind of cheating on this one too, because this is kind of a friends to hate to love. So I don't know if that actually counts for friends to lover. Now that I'm sitting here talking about it, this book might not count as a friends to lover. It's actually probably does not count as a friends to lover. But they were friends in the beginning, and then they hated each other, and then they loved each other. So I don't know, does that count? This book I read last year and I loved this book. I pretty much loved every Emily Henry book that I've read so far. I cannot wait to read Book Lover that comes out really soon. I'm really excited for that one. But this is about these two friends who used to go on vacation together every year, and they used to be best friends, but something happens and they stop talking to each other. And then one day Poppy really wants to rekindle her friendship with Alex is his name, yeah. And so she texts him, and they kind of go on this last vacation, this last chance to form their friendship again. And then it's a love story, and it's so freaking cute, so freaking adorable. I love this book. We do have the present day where they're on their vacation today, and then we do have flashbacks of their past vacation and what happened for them to stop talking to each other. So I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was really well done. Next question is, I loved this author but did not like this book, and I'm gonna go with one of my favorite authors, I think, all time, and it is Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've read pretty much all of her books. I think I have only one that I haven't read, which is Forever Interrupted. It's the only book of her that I haven't read, I'm pretty sure, and I loved all of them except one, and it is Daisy Joan and the Six. I did not care for this one. Maybe it's just me not really caring for 60s music. Was it in the 60s? Or I don't know what era it is. I just don't care that much for music in general. I mean, I do enjoy music. I do listen to music all the time. I'm not someone who is invested in their music, like in their musician. I like music. I don't really care. Not I don't care with the artist. That sounds bad. But I'm not someone who's gonna go look for the artist and gonna go research the artist and then, you know, go check the background of the artist. I just enjoy music and that kind of stops there. I think you do kind of have to care a little bit more to enjoy this book. I did listen to it as an audiobook, which was recommended by everyone, and I did really appreciate the audiobook. I did really enjoy it. I thought it was really fun. It's a full cast of characters because the book is written interview style. So this is the story of this group that was super popular. They became really popular at one time in history, and then they kind of split up really shortly after, and this is retelling their story. It's an interview style. So it's the story of the group, how they got formed and how they split up and what happened and why they split up. It was interesting. I enjoyed it. Just nothing spectacular, especially compared to all of the other books from Taylor Jenkins Reid's. Like I said, I've loved pretty much all of her other books. This one was a 3 stars, so it was a good book, just kind of average book for me. Next question is, previously disliked a book by this author, but I loved this book. This one I couldn't find really. There's not really a book that I just couldn't find it. I do have a few authors that I want to give a second chance to. Like I said, Margaret Rogerstern, the author of Sorcerer and Thorns, I do want to give a second chance to her because maybe it was just that book, maybe it was just me at the time. I did enjoy it. I do want to give a second chance to John Gwynne because I tried Malice last year and could not get into it. But I think it was me. I think I was starting a reading slump at that time. I just didn't know it yet. So I do have a few authors that I want to give a second chance to. Next question is, I love this cover but did not like this book. So the book that I'm going to talk about is a book that I actually enjoyed. It just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a new favorite of mine. Everyone was talking about that book so positively at that time, and it is Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. And I purposely bought the UK edition because I loved these covers. I thought it was so gorgeous. I just love them so much. And so I bought the UK cover and I read it and I enjoyed it. I thought it was fine. I just didn't love it as much as I thought I would, and I didn't love it as much as I hoped I would. This is described as a Mulan meets Project Runway, basically. It's a pretty good like summary of the book for the first half of the book at least. It is about this girl who takes place of her brother in this competition to become the new royal tailor, basically. And obviously a lot more things happens. I enjoyed this one, like I said. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed the first half of the book, but then the second half of the book kind of the setting changed and I just didn't care for it that much. And weirdly, I didn't really care for the romance in this book that much. I do want to read the second book one day, but I'm just not in a hurry to read it, which kind of tells you how I feel about the first book. And then the last question is, I don't like this cover, but I love this book. And the book that I'm going to be talking about is going to be Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I don't hate this cover, I just don't like it, especially in person. The orange in person is very like bright. It's kind of a fluorescent orange and it just kind of gives me a headache. I am prone to headache. I do get like migraines pretty often, and this, if I look at it too long, it gives me a headache. So I don't hate the cover. I think it's the color of it. I wish it wasn't that fluorescent. In the camera it's not too bad, but honestly if I look at it right now, I kind of have a start of a headache. So it's just not the best cover for me. The book was amazing though. I really enjoyed that book. It was well, I guess this is sci-fi too, but it's kind of a thriller sci-fi. It's about this guy named Jason, and one day he wakes up to find himself strapped to a gurney, surrounded by strangers in a Hamlet suit. Before a man Jason's never met smiles at him and says, "Welcome back, my friend." In this world he wakens up to, Jason's life is not the one he knows. His wife is not his wife, his son was never born, and Jason is not an ordinary college physics professor, but a celebrated genius who has achieved something remarkable, something impossible. I really enjoyed this book. I loved it, but just the cover, I just cannot watch. I cannot look at it too long because it gives me a headache. So I'm gonna tag a few people to do this video. I hope they haven't done it yet, but I'm gonna tag Green Egg in Sam's book. She's a booktuber that I recently discovered and I really enjoyed her. I will tag her, and I'm also gonna tag the Sassy Library Fox. I don't think she has done this tag. I have to check, but hopefully you haven't done it. If so, I'm really sorry. If anyone wants to do this tag, consider yourself a tag as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have a wonderful day or night depending on when you're watching this, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!